Greetings, my friends. Today I wanted to share something that, for me, was a useful entrance into a deeper realization of oneness. So, as we are exploring the lines that we make in the world, and how we can dissolve some of those lines and come to recognize that most of those lines are built just out of our minds. Well, tools like this can sometimes help us on that journey and create a deeper feeling of connection. My name is Kenton Whitman, and I believe in you. The other day I heard a physicist talking about how he currently believes that at the root of all of reality that we perceive is a singular energy that manifests in different ways. And we've heard this from the New Age movement. We seem to be hearing it from, string theory speaks to this. And certainly, if we are imagining that the world is the Matrix in some way, Maya, or we're living in a virtual reality, in any case, probably all of our reality can be distilled down to a singular something. Now, as a mental construct, this is fine. And we probably realize or recognize that if we could adopt this mental construct, we would begin to feel a deeper sense of connection. Our usual sense of self has me, Kenton, in a shell of skin, looking out through this control tower up here at an external world that I perceive around me. But that is perhaps not our natural way of seeing the world, the universe, but it's a cultural one that we have learned. And it leads often to a sense of isolation. Here I am, little fragile me, in the big hostile universe, and that can feel pretty intimidating. If I switch this over and I start to recognize my interconnection with everything, I start to feel like the universe is very hospitable. I look out at the world around me, the trees, the deer, the animals, even things that may be unpleasant, pain, or the sensation of cold. And I realize that these are part of who I am. With that deeper connection, I cease to resist things in the same way. And my life takes on a different flavor. Instead of fighting all the time, I'm dancing all the time. Now, as I said, it's one thing to think about the universe as being one stuff. But that's sort of just a lofty concept in our minds. And we can think it, but we don't viscerally feel it. So today I'd like to turn our attention to something that is in all of our worlds, that we all experience, that gives us a more direct example of oneness. And I'll be borrowing from the philosopher Alan Watts today, but some of this is just something that all of us could recognize. You hopefully can see in the video that it's snowing today. And if I catch some of these flakes and I look at them, they're beautiful little crystals. And as we've all heard, each one is different. Right here on my arm, an artwork of crystals is forming. And it's breathtaking, it's stunning as I just observe it happen. They're really too small today to show effectively on camera, but some have smooth edges, others have little rounded edges, some are broken off fins of larger crystals. Now, I look at all these crystals, this magnificent manifestation of differentiation. Every single one is different. Every single one is unique. And yet, they are all water. Right? All of that is just water that has taken on a form or a manifestation. It's a temporary manifestation. They're going to shift and change. And before long, they're going to become water again. That water is going to seep down into the earth. And it's going to carry up into the roots of some of these plants and trees. And it's going to directly nourish those trees. In a way, it's going to actually become a tree. Eventually, though, all this water, it stays in the form of water. And it moves through different incarnations. So here we've got this field of beautiful crystals. Each one is unique as you and me. On the ground we have ice, where some of the water is compacted and it's become more unified, so that it's hard to see just one piece of ice. There's this ice and snow that continues on. In a way, it's become one thing. Some of it's going to evaporate and become essentially invisible in the air. And it's there, even though I can't see it, I can't smell it. If there's a lot of it in the air, I might be able to have a sensation or a feeling of it. But otherwise, it's quite invisible. That invisible thing is the same as these crystals. I said I was going to borrow from the philosopher Alan Watts. He spoke of waves in the ocean. Again, here's water. And observe what those waves are doing. We can look out and we can say, wow, look at that wave. Surfers are about to catch that wave and ride it. That wave is a very obvious thing, a unique entity. And yet if we look carefully at that wave, we see that between wave and ocean, there's no separation. It's one thing. The water just manifests, becomes this form that we then identify as something separate for the duration of its life until it crashes on the shore. Water does this all the time. In the winter, it forms icicles. In the summer, it comes down as raindrops. Sometimes it manifests as fog. If you've ever gotten up close into a bank of fog, you'll see from afar that there's a singular thing, that bank of fog. But when you get up close to it, you can see that it's tiny little floating droplets of water in the air. The fog is not one thing, it's all these little individual entities. This water, it really, really can help us to recognize what is one thing, what is an individual. Is water ever separate from the rest of the water? Or is it always connected? These are questions that don't have any real meaningful answer. But if we realize that we don't have an answer, and we can begin to open our eyes, our hearts, to the wonder of water's manifestation as a million different amazing things, we can start to see a hint into the non-duality of oneness and division, multitudinous. Non-duality asks us to see that both of these things are equally existent at the same time. As soon as I apply my mind and I say, this is a separate thing, I've turned it into an individual, but I'm failing to see its oneness. In the same way, if I look at that bank of fog and I say, that is oneness, I might fail to see up close that it's all these little individuals. So, neither oneness or differentiation, both oneness and differentiation, all at the same time, This is the miraculous reality that we live in. It can't really be defined, but we can experience it. We can wonder at it. And we can start to see that even you and I, we're just like that water. We really can feel like we're just an individual entity. But there is something so much more that is you. So much more that is me. So much more that is this thing that we are right now together. Thank you for watching. Please share in the comments any of your thoughts about water's connection with everything, about reality in the way it can look like many or it can look like one. I can't wait to see what you have to share. As many of you know, this channel, my other channel, Rewild University, they are possible because of all of you. Thank you for being part of my channel. Thank you, my friends, for everything. Love to you all.